Now on for these 30-minute videos or like 25-minute videos, if they get like so many views, 15 views, or like at least close to 15, so if it's like 14, I don't want to like wait for longer or anything, or 2, if there's 4 likes, it'll definitely come out right then. So yeah, just telling you guys that if you want another what if Deku had Grim Reaper's powers, I'm waiting for what if Deku had SEO's powers to get enough views to do part 3 and stuff. So this one, I'm going to start off going to the UA entrance and stuff. So Deku walks in, and so does Bakugo, because they know it's actually in. They're leaving the house. They're like telepathically talking, saying who's going to get there first. So what the Soul Links does, it tells them what they're doing, what they're thinking, and all that. But what I'm going to say is that they can actually switch bodies anytime. One of them can either tell them when to like dodge and all that. So it's kind of how the Pains had their eyes links, but their minds link and all that, and they could switch for Deku, and then they could switch bodies if they wanted to and stuff. I'm gonna say when they switch bodies, so does the powers and stuff. So yeah. So they're not gonna switch bodies in right now, but so they get there. Deku activates all for one for all. What I'm gonna say is that his is black lightning, and whenever he does this, I'm gonna say wind starts coming around him, creating like a black wind barrier. I'm gonna say. So whenever he's using one for all, his wind is seeable, just like a punch. And the logic of My Hero is that you can see wind, apparently, in like any other anime with wind in it, but it's black wind and stuff. Whenever he activates Bakugo's explosion, so it's orange. It's pretty much what explosions look like for Bakugo, but Deku's is just black to clarify, and his eyes are silver, and his hair's black, I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna say, in the thumbnail, that's what he's wearing. And I'm gonna say that, just like his dad, I know it's illegal for like them to work at bars, but I'm gonna say he works at a bar and everything. Just how his dad weird clothes and he goes to work somewhere weird and all that. So I'm gonna say Deku does has this tendency to like appear out of nowhere, like appear under people's chairs out of nowhere and start talking. That's just like his personality from his dad and all that and stuff. So yeah, so Deku learned how to use his soul powers in that short amount of time, because I'm gonna say where they got the soul link to like figure out how not to switch bodies out of nowhere, they had 5 months to do it. So yeah, because Bakugo was already physically strong. So Deku's running with a scythe that he got out whenever he started running. And I'm gonna say his sleeves are longer in the thumbnail. They're like covering his arms. So like he jumps in the air and he like slings his arm around. All of a sudden a scythe comes out, turns it into the sword and shoots the thing and all that. He starts slicing them. He's running with one for all, so he's like way in front of people and all that. So he's like running really fast and all that. He jumps and he kicks and he comes over and shoots his shotgun. Whenever his shotgun hits something, it instantly explodes and all that. I'm gonna say he makes sure he can control the bullets, I'm gonna say, because it's technically his scythe, his ability and all that. so he can stop it from hitting stuff if he wants hitting people and stuff, but it's still a spread shot if he doesn't control it, so he can like do a sinking one. So I'm gonna say that he shoots in the air. I'm gonna say he has different ammo. He can do shotgun shells. He can do 2 big bullets that are like really destructive whenever they hit, or they can do a rapid fire of normal sized bullets of like 2 chambers. I'm gonna say there's 20 in each chamber. So there's 40 in all if he shoots them all. So if he really wanted to, he can shoot 40 targets at once. And that's what he does, of course. But I'm gonna say the other bullets, these ones are only in its gun form. So in his gun form, he can use all 3 bullets. In his sword form, I'm gonna say it's only the 2 rounds, big bullets. And then in its scythe form, it's the shotgun. So people see him using this lightning and wind. And he can also switch them off with wind. So like wind and all that, it's the same amount of bullets and all that. It's just with wind penetrating them and all that. So, and all that. So whenever he's gonna like fight somebody, he replaces the bullets with wind, I'm gonna say. And all that. And that's what he does. But he's not fighting humans, so he's just like doing all this. And yeah. So what's happening is that later on, so, yeah, he's fighting. I'm gonna say he has 300 points, and I'm gonna say Bakio's is one for all. So he has 200 points, and I'm gonna say Bakio's so fast that he's by the robot. And like they know they're really close together, so they try to spread out where they don't like destroy like everybody around them by their explosions that they can do. So when the robot's about to crush Uraraka, I'm gonna say there's 2 of them on both sides walking by the crush him. One of them was walking in front of the dude, and the other one's just walking straight onto Uraraka. So what happens is that Deku turns his weapon into a scythe, shoots a wind blast, cutting the one's leg that was exploding it. That was about to hit Uraraka first, and then Bakugo goes over there, shoots an explosion, throwing off balance completely. Then Deku covers the one in wind doing the dust thing, and whenever and I'm gonna say, because Deku doesn't ignite it, but Bakugo does, so he grabs Uraraka and runs off in a black lightning blur, and all that. Bakugo explodes it, and I'm gonna say, and Deku, like, I'm gonna say he throws her full force. Bakugo yells at him like, "You're trying to kill the girl," and he says, "No, I'm gonna make her fly." And he's like, "Fly," and he sees like the wind. He says, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," and all that. And then they do dust explosion, so that's what I'm gonna call it from now on. Dust explosion, destroying the robot completely. And they both get 80 hero rescue points, so 380 and 280 and stuff. And instead of lightning, Bakugo's is, I want to say, explosions around him, and Deku is lightning and wind, I want to say. No, there is lightning around Bakugo, but it's like lightning running around him and explosions around him at the same time. So his lightning's not like on top of him, they're like spread out, kind of like where his wind is, and all that. So they get into UA, they get in Class 1A. People say their points and they're really impressed. I'm gonna say Bakugo even beat All Might's score, because All Might's was like, what's it called again? I'm gonna say his was 200, so he gets double that, or like 80 more points than All Might, and Deku gets 180 more than All Might. So they go into the class, and people are looking at him, and like people are asking how Bakugo did that big explosion, and he says that I didn't do it alone. Technically, the move was created by Deku over here while we were kids. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, how big was the move whenever you were kids? And they said that if they wanted to, they probably could have did the same exact move that they did there, just as big. But it would take longer to activate or like get ready and stuff, because Bakugo couldn't do like that much dust at once and all that. And explain how the move works and all that. And they ask him, because I'm gonna say Ida says to Deku and him, how did you know about the points? And they say they didn't. Uraraka is just about to get crushed because they already know the name of her and everything. And all that. And I'm gonna say Ida doesn't really. Then Ida says, why does Deku in a a bartender suit? And he's like, oh, I just like to wear this and stuff. And like Bakugo, then he asks Bakugo, because Bakugo's nicer, or can you show him and act like, does he always actually wear that all the time? Bakugo whispers that he probably gets it from his dad, because his dad wears like a witch costume and all that. Deku hears them, and I'm gonna say Deku made Bakugo float by tapping the floor, and Bakugo made an explosion and said, what you doing, Deku? And I'm gonna say Uraraka hears them call him Deku and stuff, because I'm gonna say he introduced himself as Izuku Midoriya, and she asked why they call him you Deku, and he's like, it was a name given to me for whenever I was a kid, because I could almost do everything people were saying, because I could fly, I could have made weapons, I could destroy trees, and like do a whole bunch of stuff. That's where I got my name from and all that. Then like Bakugo's like angry at Deku because they like mess with each other. I'll say Bakugo makes like a eruption in the ground, causing like, I'm gonna say what he does. He like there's an explosion and he does an All Might push to the ground, creating a whirlwind with One for All, throwing Deku up, but Deku, before hitting the top of the roof, creates wind, then uses One for All and punches down, and then Bakugo's sitting him back, then he activates One for All, or Explosion Burst, and Deku activates Wind Burst and stuff. Like I said, almost all the moves are just different ways that them two moves are. Different ways that the move looks because of their quirks. Deku shoots a wind piercing shot, and Bakugo shoots a explosion piercing shot. EP shot, and a AP shot, they say. And then I'm gonna say, people are yelling not to destroy the room, they stop. And people are asking why their moves are kind of the same in their quirks. Froppy does. They say that they came up with the moves themselves, and that they're kind of like the same concept, but our quirks make them look different and stuff. Saying that Bakio came up with the AP shot, and he came up with the ear-piercing shot, EP shot. But he said armor-piercing, so he changed it to explosion-piercing because Deku did the same move before he named it. And he said AP shot, and he was like, what? I was just about to name it that, but he said because ear-piercing shot, so he said EP shot instead. And he says that Deku came up with wind eruption, and he came up with volcano, and his move was volcano eruption, where they shake the ground. Explaining all their moves, Aizawa wakes up, tells them to go outside, because Deku can technically fly and all that. So they get to the race. Bakio activates one for them, and they ask why do they have lightning around them, and they're like, he says that Deku over here used one of his moves from the scythe, they say. It was from his dad's side. And his dad also, I want to say his dad, the Grim Reaper dude, I want to say he could use lightning, but it wasn't a quirk, it was like a special ability of his scythe. His quirk is technically called Grim Reaper, that let him see souls and all that. And what happened is that he learned how to use soul binding, creating a pact between souls between me and him, giving us the same quirk as this one. They say, do they both have the same exact quirk? He said that Deku, Bakio said that I didn't want all those other quirks, because then I had to make my own weapon and all that, and he doesn't want it to be just like the same as him. But he agreed on giving him physical enhancement and stuff. That's their excuse. And I'm gonna say All Might's still staring at them, seeing if they're okay. Then all of a sudden, All Might standing, Deku's dad appears underneath him, laying down on the side. He say Momo asked because he is from England, so he doesn't look completely Japanese. He says, "Are you a foreigner?" He says no, because my father's actually from England, he says. And they asked more about the Grim Reaper quirk. They said that we get these special weapons that we can create. And he says that apparently these were one of the first quirks, he says. And why he says that is because the quirk actually spans our lifespans. And they're like, what? And then he says that his dad's actually about 1,000 years old, and he kind of went around the whole world, but he stayed at England the longest, and he just came down from England whenever he met his mother. They're like, then so your dad's like 1,000 years old? Some of them are like, nuh-uh, and stuff. I'm gonna say, then his dad, appears on the court where the ball throw is, as, I'm gonna say, Dum Dum, the dude with the lightning quirks underneath there. And he says, I am, and people look, and they're like, what is another dude, another homeless dude on campus, referring to, Aizawa. Aizawa looks at them, they laugh it off in a nervous laugh, and he says, yes I am, and stuff, and they see him, because I'm gonna say, Deku has white hair in this, and silver eyes. I'm not sure if he has silver eyes, but I'm gonna say he does. And they're like, are you actually 1,000 years old? He says, I am. Actually, there was 3 different original quirks that have been around. And the dude was actually, he says that one of the people were actually Jack the Ripper, or a assailant of Jack the Ripper. he says there was actually two Jack the Rippers. One that was a regular human and all that. They explained the story from Black Butler. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go to Black Butler. He's the dude that was apparently the strongest Grim Reaper. I'm just gonna say he doesn't just look... He doesn't have the scar on the face, I'm gonna say, and all that. He's not as a creeper as he was, and all that. And he says that it was this lady called Madam Red that they thought was the original Grim... That they thought the person was killed by Grim Reaper and stuff. Or killed by Jack the Ripper. And the actual Grim Reaper that was the second assailant was a Grim Reaper, had Grim Reaper powers, and she also had red hair. And people mistook them as a dude because the girl looked like a dude. Explains the whole story, explains the quirk, or quote-unquote quirk, and explains the other two quirks. So, he says that these quirks probably been around a lot longer than people knew back then, but a lot of people didn't take it out because the mythology of demons and Grim Reapers and all that were probably made. The original, he says that probably the myth of the Grim Reaper came from me using a scythe because I was the most well known and most strongest, people thought, of all Grim Reapers and stuff. They're like, wow, and they're like, that's your father and stuff. And he's like, yes. And they start thinking, why did they wear weird clothes? And like, why didn't they show their hands? Because they're both kind of the same, where they lift up their hands and like the whole sleeve comes off of them and all that. And I'm gonna say Deku has that thing where he'll do a favor if they make him laugh and stuff. Because I'm gonna say Baku asked Deku to go buy him and ask him if he could like buy him a drink because he didn't have any cash on him. And he says, I don't want your cash later. He said, you must laugh. And people are confused. And it was like, Baku was like, why do you keep on doing this? You know your dad. He's like, starts laughing and stuff. He makes a joke and all that. Ozawa asked him to leave. But then, like, he says, he said, I'll only leave if you make me laugh. And people are confused. And they remember Deku doing it and stuff. And all that. He laughs, he leaves. But he appears next to All Might again. So the whole fitness exam happens. And he walks by All Might, he sees him, and then he said, didn't I say you're supposed to leave? He said, alright. He leaves. Oh my god. So it's the next day, and give me a second, actually. So it's the versus. So what's going to happen is that All Might doesn't want to pair up Deku and Bakugo together and stuff because they work together too much, and this is supposed to build up bonds between people out of nowhere and stuff and all that. And what I'm gonna say is that Deku pulls out his scythe and pulls out the gun version. They say, are you gonna shoot him? He says, no, I can actually replace my bullets with air and all that. And they're impressed and all that. Give me a second real quick. So it's the versus battle, and it's Bakugo with Ida versus Hero Team, Deku, and Uraraka. And what's gonna happen is that Bakugo has to watch out from not hitting the explosions that the wind that Deku generates, and Deku has to watch out for not getting caught into the explosions from the dirt everywhere and the dust. So it's a dangerous combo because it's a small area and everything. So yeah. So I'm gonna say them two are trying not to create these dust explosions on accident and all that. But Deku's thinking I could take these to my advantage. And his costume is just the little thumbnail, but with long sleeves and all that. I want to say he has a witch's hat also. And all that. So he's like, he was thinking that I could redirect the explosions toward Bakugo because he can like redirect it and all that. And if you guys wonder what that happened, the person just walked into the room, didn't see me when I was laying down, and entered my bed. So he's thinking about that, and he thought of the idea, instead of redirecting it, just covering himself in wind, pushing it around. So we're walking in. Bakugo is smarter in this, and he's faster and all that. So what he does, instead of blasting through all downstairs and everything, he goes out the window and stuff, or he's gonna jump down to the second story window, or third story going to the fourth story, where the the stairs are, where he's waiting for them to come, where we can hit the thing and all that. So they're walking upstairs. They're noticing that nobody's coming down, so they're expecting them to just be in the room. Must he already told Ida his plan and stuff, so he was gonna like try to split them up or hold them back or try to split them up. So he creates an explosion, and mostly because Onefront upgraded his quirk. Oh no, he already upgraded his quirk where he can have his explosion on his feet. So he swings back and hits in the wall. The explosion drop kicking Deku, with Deku hitting him with the back of his scythe, summoning it in the air, hitting him in the head, making him woozy. Then I'm gonna say Deku drop kicks him back, sending him through a wall. He's like, here you go, payback, eye for an eye and all that. And he was like, eye for eye. He picks up his scythe, throws it at him, hitting him in the face, and he was like, eye for eye and stuff. And the scythe comes back in Deku's hand, falls back in, he turns it into the gun. He said bong and all that. A wind shot hitting, because it's a gun, I'm gonna say he did the 2 big barrel shots, hitting Bakugo in the chest really hard, sending him back a lot. And because the wind is his actual quirk, so it does enhance it. So I'm gonna say there's black lightning around it and stuff. So it's going flying. It's Bakugo. Bakugo is sent back. Bakugo comes back, throwing spin kicks with explosions and punches. I'm gonna say Deku turns his gun away and starts hand-to-hand combating him. I'm gonna say Deku, because he's not really a regular human, because he can do like special things humans can do, where people can dislocate their joints and all that. So Bakugo grabs his leg, he dislocates his joint, making his body fall down, and him kicking Bakugo in the face in the process. Bakugo was like, "How'd you do that?" He said that all I did was dislocate my legs. People are hearing this or confused how he did that so easily. Then he was like, "I can show you, I can dislocate my whole body if I wanted to." He starts dislocating his like joints in his arms and everything. So then he confused Bakugo. That moment, then he pulls out his gun and shoots Bakugo with the 40-shot combo. So this is enough to take out Bakugo. They go upstairs and they start fighting Ida and stuff. Ida's getting overwhelmed by Deku with because Deku, I'm gonna say, appeared because he can summon weapons, so I'm gonna say, just like his dad, I'm gonna say he had a coffin that he summoned in the middle of the room. Ida went over there to kick it, and whenever he kicked it, because normal weapons can't break the scythe, or their scythes and stuff, so Ida's like armor gets instantly broken, like easily. Deku opens it up, and he's like, "Hi." People are confused how he got there. He kind of like teleported by summoning it there, and then I'm gonna say Uraraka is still inside next where Deku's next to her, and kind of just like hid her by standing up and stuff. And people see this and like they see Uraraka blushing because she was just like in there somehow and she was confused. He's fighting Ida, and he like tries to resummon it on Ida, and like Ida says that's too slow, and it hits the ground and stuff. Then I'm gonna say Deku breaks the top of it, slings it at Ida. Ida sees this, it hits Ida. Uraraka jumps out and touches the bomb. That's it for this video. Goodbye. Get me either 50 views or like 4 likes this time, and then I'll do it. Got it?